Welcome to the segment where I review movies, past and present, examining them from a variety of perspectives, including the subjective, psychological, and personal. Informative and occasionally funny, this is LoganLand Rants. Welcome to LoganLand Rants, and today we're talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, this movie is fresh in my mind, so it's hot off the press. The thing about it is it's great. And surprisingly scary. I think it's for that reason that it's not really for everyone, but it works. If you're not familiar, I'm sure we're all familiar with Freddy Krueger. He's like a horror icon, everyone knows who he is. He's like a miniature, illegally safe knockoff of an 80s horror character with, nope, that's a character from Rick and Morty. Scary Terry, who is a parody of Freddy Krueger. To any Rick and Morty fans out there, I appeal to you. But, Freddy Krueger is a burn victim with a hat and knives for his hands. He has, knife fingernails, as they describe in the movie. But he has an even crazier backstory. There's a little exposition dump in the middle of the movie where we learn that Fred Krueger, before he became Freddy Krueger, apparently he was, after being released way too early for murdering a bunch of children due to a faulty warrant, apparently the neighborhood families got together and burned him to death. And now he haunts promiscuous teenagers' dreams. Kind of a weird premise off the bat, but, it works. There are moments that are genuinely terrifying. You can't really tell what's real from fake, what's real from dreams, It's really good. Sorry, just clearing my throat. I promise I do not have the coronavirus. But back to Freddy Krueger. It's a really, great, kind of trippy horror film. There are moments that are really, really tense and really, really effective. And at the end of the day, whoever played Freddy Krueger, I forget what his name was, he is, at the end of the day, very terrifying. And there are some moments that are genuinely disarming and quite chilling. And ultimately, I think that's really cool. It's always cool when films can push boundaries a little bit. It's directed by Wes Craven, who I have not seen Scream yet, but I will. But apparently Wes Craven also made Scream, and it says something that he'd make a straightforward but innovative slasher movie. And then kind of redefine the genre again from what I heard, with a genre redefining Scream. But Freddy Krueger is really terrifying. He's really iconic for that reason. A burn victim with knives for hands. It's scary by any credible metric. And a lot of great stuff in that movie. I think what's most chilling is there's a stretch in the middle of the movie towards the beginning, where a teenage girl is murdered, where I'm actually got fooled into thinking she was the protagonist because she was sort of the first character we saw, but she ends up kind of unceremoniously murdered by the dream machine that is Freddy Krueger. Gets killed very early in the film, and then we kind of switch protagonists to a different girl. But there's a stretch towards the beginning where her boyfriend who had sex with her before that, kind of is framed for the murder because it's not really something you easily explain. That might be a tired trope, people not really believing the murder, especially if it's under supernatural circumstances like Freddy Krueger and Chucky. I saw Child's Play recently, but that's for a different podcast. It's quite crazy. So, of course, obviously, if that happened in real life, no one would believe it, so it's kind of understandable. But the circumstances leading up to Freddy Krueger's murder of the teenage girl towards the beginning kind of makes it unbelievable and places the murder on her boyfriend, the only real person in that room, although the boyfriend later gets hung to make it look like he killed himself, because obviously that's what people would believe. But no, he's murdered by Freddy Krueger. I always like it when killers are kind of versatile a little bit. I was surprised when I found out that John Carpenter wielded, Michael Myers from Halloween. I was surprised when I found out that he wielded more than just a chef's knife. He uses a phone cord at one point to suffocate someone. Dated reference for those of us who realize that landlines are extinct. But anyway, I always like it when killers in movies are versatile a little bit. It's one of the reasons everyone loves the Joker. Well, that and Heath Ledger's performances in The Dark Knight is phenomenal, but that's overcorrecting a little bit. But yeah, Freddy Krueger isn't quite as versatile, but he does still use like blankets that the boyfriend had while in his jail cell to suffocate him. It's actually kind of chilling. It kind of sneaks up on you in a Hitchcockian fashion. Then again, I don't really know many horror aficionados who are not a fan of Hitchcock, or just filmmakers in general. I don't know many filmmakers who don't revere his work to some level. Big fan of Psycho and Notorious, both great. And I'm going to watch more Hitchcock in the future, but that's not what this is about. This is about Wes Craven's directorial style, because Nightmare on Elm Street, it's very straightforward. There are moments that are Hitchcockian that kind of sneak up on you, and I think it's really effective. Yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts around that fact. And I don't really know the cast names, but I do know it's pretty crazy. No other way around it. It's crazy and still at times really scary, and it says something that a movie from 1984 can continue to be scary to this day. Really proud of that. But yeah, something to think about. And shot really well, of course. The use of smoke and fog throughout the movie was particularly noteworthy for me. And I forget exactly who composed the music, but the music score is also a predictably chilling score. I don't think, this might be a hot take, I don't think it's quite as good as the Halloween score, but it's still a memorable theme by any credible metric. Man, I'm really going hard this time. You may have noticed the past, the past 20 podcasts, maybe I haven't really been that energetic, and sometimes it's been a little short, 2 to 5 minutes, but I'll continue going at this pace for a while, and I will continue to give you guys, I lost a patron, but that's not the point. As much as I'd love to get a bigger audience, I'm ultimately doing this for me. I like getting my recordings of my voice monologue movie shit. I just love movies. I think they're a real miracle. And I'm gonna keep recording this for the near future. But if you do feel so inclined to like or subscribe or pledge to my channel, please do that. And I'll see you next week with another podcast. Bye.